Now, last night, Deputy Labour leader Harriet Harman launched the new Equality Bill, which sets out groundbreaking new laws to try and reduce inequality between men and women, rich and poor, and between different ethnic groups. Amongst the 9 new laws will be one that makes it legal for employers to choose a woman or a person from a minority group over another equally qualified candidate purely on the grounds of gender or race. So, is this positive discrimination ever the right way to go?
I don't think so, no, I don't agree with it at all. And the reason is because, you know, all she's doing is trying to legalise discrimination. And I don't care how you dress it up, I don't care what words you put in front of it, positive discrimination or whatever, it's still discrimination. You know, what she's doing is... You know, I don't know if there's actual evidence as to, you know, discrimination against people when they're applying for a job. You know, and they always say, oh, there's only this many women MPs. That's probably because women just... They don't want to be MPs.
You don't think it's because there's a lack of role models?
No, but you can't force people into... You can't force a square peg into a round hole. And the simple reason that we have people like Harriet Harman, Jackie Smith, Tessa Jowell et al. Is because they were given the jobs, because they were Blair babes, they were women. That's why they got the jobs, and now we're lumbered with them. And, you know, the fact is, you've got to give the job to the best person for the job, not just because they're women. I mean, it's just insane.
I don't agree with any discrimination, but I do think that in politics especially, I mean, you just have to watch it on the television or whatever, there isn't a lot of women. It seems to be still very much a man's world.
Yeah, but where's the evidence that they're discriminating against?
It would be nice to have more women in there, because 90% of the time we talk more sense. Let's be honest. They need a woman to sort of...
And also,
they do.
Well, they do. What if they don't want to do it?
If they don't want to do it, they won't apply for the job. They're not just going to drag someone off the street and say, get into politics, we need you. But for women that do go there, and the fact is, they might be put off that it is such a man's world, they know they're up against it, and it might be nice for them to think, I have an equal chance now of getting this job. In fact, more of a chance because they need more women. And if that encourages more women to go into politics, then, actual fact, I think it's a good thing, although I think to call it positive, the word discrimination doesn't fit with me anyway, because, like you said,
the term they use in America is affirmative action, and it's not to do with equality between the genders. It's particularly prevalent when it comes to education. They use affirmative action to try and get more ethnic minorities, particularly more African Americans, into the university system because they are not represented well. And unfortunately, when you look at sort of wealth across the spectrum, it is the African American communities that come off the worst. They have the worst schools, the worst opportunities. So I'm in favour when it comes to an educational opportunity to give people who have been oppressed in some way, although it might be in the dim and distant past, to give them a leg up if it's not a level playing field. But I kind of do think once you've been through the university system, once you are a qualified adult, I think all bets are off, and maybe it's the best candidate for the job.
Talk about equality of women. This is not making women equal. The point about the Parliament thing is you've got to start at the ground roots and make it possible for women to work in Parliament. There is nothing wrong with a woman bringing up children, for instance. So she doesn't want to be, oh, well, we'll give you the job. She might be busy, you know, at one point bringing up her children. If you made it easier for her to take her children into Parliament, then she could very well do both. I mean, the point is that you can't... It's not helping anybody to discriminate positively or not positively, is it? It's not equal.
But I guess, again, the other argument is you could say if the government is supposed to be representative of the country that's voting for it, you know, 50% of the country are women. And we are not duly represented in that way, and whatever percentage are ethnic minorities, and they are certainly not represented. I don't think there's
but just because they're women, it doesn't mean to say they represent your views or our views, because she's not representing my views.
But a woman is going to fight far harder for, you know, whether it's nursery facilities, whether it's maternity leave, than a man is going to fight, because she's been in that position, and I think she's going to fight much harder for women's rights than a man perhaps would.
But Maggie Thatcher didn't, did she? Maggie Thatcher didn't do anything for women. She historically didn't help women at all with nursery care or, you know...
I should point out as well, the Government Equalities Office are actually saying that men, as well as women and minority ethnic groups, can benefit from this positive action. For example, a primary school may want to increase the number of male teachers so that they can act as role models to the male pupils. So it could work both ways. They're just trying to sort of, across the board...
Yes, but they would. Surely they would, because there's a huge shortage of male teachers. But they don't apply
because for them,
well, there probably are the jobs, but a lot of men have left the teaching profession because it's so difficult for them because they're men. You know, there are other problems. Yeah, there are other problems they've got to sort out, and they're already, you know, a lot of laws against discrimination. You know, why make new laws to create positive discrimination? I keep saying that word positive because it's still discrimination. And, you know, what she's doing as well is she's creating another layer of red tape and problems for businesses about, you know, as far as pay is concerned. And, you know, with the economy and everything, businesses are struggling already. They just don't need all this complication. And, you know, she should just stop interfering and go away.
Saying, though, that positive discrimination... What they're saying in this bill is that positive discrimination, the absolute blatant picking someone just for their gender, is still illegal.
Yeah.
But it's if you've got two equally qualified candidates, a man and a woman, you can go for the woman because you want more women in your organisation.
Yeah. And I don't.
The trouble is, human nature being what it is, it'll be abused. You know, it will. It'll be misused. And I just think it's a strange time to bring it in. You know, this government, it seems to fluff around the outskirts of things.
But they just make everything difficult. If you've got two totally equally qualified people applying for a job, you've got to choose between one of them anyway. You know,
you are going to have a reason.
There's going to be a reason why you pick one of them. Saying it's legal now to pick the woman because she's a woman... I mean, it just doesn't make any sense.
That just shows you that there is discrimination out there, that they're not picking a woman because she's a woman.
There might not be.
So maybe
they don't know.
Change
but
that.
we don't know that, though, do we?
We don't know that. We don't know the other way.
I haven't got enough laws.
We don't work in Parliament. She does.
Time for one last little break, but before we go...